So, cool thing about the first track, Where Did You Go? Produced by the homie Braille. Oh man. Alright, so this song, as I've said before in the whole wrap up, comes right after basically what the monster piece would be. So if you were to actually listen to the last song, Sky High, it's talking about what I've learned from the experience of dealing with the industry, and then it picks up right where that story is when I'm finally about to go tour on the deluxe album, the monster piece. And so it's going through the whole touring situation where it'd be throughout all of US, being able to do big arenas and stuff like that, and also going on to an international tour and stuff like this. So that's kind of like where that is, that whole song kind of goes, and experiencing the dream that I used to have to be a huge entertainer, go traveling the world doing the music that I love and having a fan base that spans the entire globe. So really cool stuff there. But a little tidbit for the people who are unaware, on the very last verse, it kind of ends up with I gotta go though, I'll be back to hold you down, I don't want to leave. So I was like, yo, that is so ill. This beat actually lends itself for me to make this Trey Songz reference and be able to collide that along with the original chorus that I made for it and blend it together, and it's just so dang on ill. I Don't Want to Leave is a song by Trey Songz off his first album that I always loved a lot. And it always, like, I loved and also wanted to make fun of this part a lot, because not only was it funny to how it came in the song, it also sounded really cool at the same time. So I always wanted to try and do something cool like that, and I actually was able to just insert that moment itself right into the song. That I gotta go though. So yeah, to be actually able to incorporate that into a song, it's just a cool little fun fact to add some flavor behind the song. So yeah, gonna be doing more little tidbits and stuff like that behind each song. So stay tuned. Lifestyle, man. Lifestyle. So, for a long time, a phrase that I've had is the lifestyle of the broken average. Just to kind of, be the opposite of the lifestyle of the rich and famous. And that whole concept, I was like, I know I have to turn this into a song. And so that's basically what this whole thing is it's that snap back to reality, and letting you know just how not rich and famous I am, despite the talents that I have. And it's basically just a fun, like, little window into the life of myself, because I do just work retail. I was working also at a restaurant for a little bit as well. That's why, like, the whole Still Have My Day Job project came out, just to show, I just do this music as a side thing. And yet I choose to do that and deal with these struggles, like paying back student loans, not really having a whole lot of money to just to eat and go have fun, and woo women and go out on dates and stuff like that, just because I know that everything that lifestyle of the rich and famous can bring me could be detrimental to myself. And I just figured I'd just poke fun at my brokenness and averageness. The fact that I actually, just like most listeners are, just a normal dude. Funny thing is, though, some of the facts that are, like, thrown out in there are actually not true anymore, because I've been working on this album for such a long time that the car that I mentioned is something I'm not driving anymore. Like, we don't have a dog anymore, unfortunately. We had to put her down because she was old, and she had kidney failure too. But yeah, but we still do have the cat. I still basically work in the PMs while the parental unit's still working in the AM. This is it's just a few. It still holds true enough that I felt comfortable releasing it on the album, because what it still all represents is still very much true. I'm living the life of the broken average, and yeah, just know when hearing that beat, it just sounds like that glamorous, like luxurious type of Rick Ross type of thing, where you just talking about how what the extravagant life that you're living, and I felt it would be perfect to just talk about the complete opposite. You'd think you would be talking about all the ice and the girls, you have the houses, you have the cars, you have the jewelry, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, no, I'm living the life of the broken average. And I'm going to make it sound all cool and glitzy and glossy and stuff. But we all know it's really not. But yeah, so that's a little bit behind that song. Punchline Academy. Man, this mug here. A really, really, really fun track. Actually intended it to be to have 4 verses, because I wanted to have another artist featured on here, but with time constraints it didn't end up happening. I mean, there were a lot of different artists that crossed my mind who I wanted to get on the track, but ended up getting a wonderful verse from Goat Low Key. Dude's dope. New artist that I came across while down here in Florida. This is actually like my first like true Florida artist collaboration that I've had on a project. So I'm actually really happy about it. Like the other people that I've had featured from here or like on my projects here weren't artists themselves. They were just people who can either sing or I had them do like little speaking parts on like Monsterpiece and stuff like that. So it was really dope to finally get a Florida artist on here. But yeah, with Punchline Academy, my crowning achievement, man, on that one, it was the flippin' last verse on Punchline Academy, bro. That verse is so dope to me, to really be able to have everything rhyme with the I-O-N sound. Like that mug is so dope to me. It's your valedictorian taking the floor, ignoring the organized. He's a vortex with the organ in the orifice where the words are more for the mighty and the Zorzor, the order, the rate is a type of war within. War within content with my fat rhymes of bordering over. Scope of born, just as soft focus like pork is in. Playing stretch, it's muted like accordions and one month to make lyric gym. That's the norm again. Recorded linguistics, conundrums is hard recorded them. So the switch size so fast the almost total limbs. Industry try to pay the judge can't afford the rents. Raised on the old rules of pattern, it's a shorter bend. You want a verse and a hearse, I'm reaching for the pen. What it's other cats are troubleshooting and I'm sourcing them. This is a return of the Jedi. Luke got the force in them. America's like I want you. While recording then, like to be able to really have everything rhyme with the I-O-N the whole way through. That way everything basically rhymes with that very first thing, valedictorian. That's that was like, I was so happy to actually have it work out in my favor. Always trying to push myself, and that's another thing that genuinely epic Monsterpieces is supposed to do. It's not only supposed to dig deep into me to try and create music that encompasses everything that I do, but it's also supposed to be the highest extent of my talent, trying to push it to the next level and show it to be genuinely epic. And I feel like that last verse really captures me trying to push my creative juices in the best way possible. So yeah, and for people who don't know, that very intro, you pass rap school where it's time to learn, that whole verse is a nod to the song on Guilty Pleasure Rap School. So yeah, So you can almost call this kind of like Rap School 2, kind of. Though I don't I just kind of see it more of a follow-up, not a real sequel. I don't know. You know. That's it for this track. Yeah! I Want You, man. So, another track that I actually wanted more features on. Another fun fact. This beat is mad old. Another one that was like on the Eclectic Beat tape. And this was like the chorus and song concept kind of has been in my mind ever since the conception of the beat. And I was like, yo, this reminds me of like Every Girl and Bedrock. Like, I was thinking it should be a huge posse cut with like a bunch of different people on it. And originally I was just gonna have like the first God lazy, why can't I do math right now? The first 32 bars, and then all the other verses were gonna be 16s for like 4 other people. Yeah, because the song that came is on the project. The last verse is actually shortened to just the 16. But it was originally 32 bars for each verse section. And I was like, yo, this could be like a huge posse cut. And I was thinking, yo, I'm gonna get the X-Men on it. People who don't know, way back when Soul Taker Records was a thing over in Top City, I was thinking, yo, I'm gonna go ahead and rip up the first verse, and then I'll have like Rip and Lyric hit up the second verse. They'll split that in half, and then the last verse could be like Braille and Mike Gully, and then it'd be Fire Blast featuring the X-Men, and it'd be so freaking dope because Top City's up in here. Woo woo Midwest. But that didn't end up happening, unfortunately. But I still thought it would be cool to split it up in between 2 other featured artists. And once again, time constraints did not allow that to happen, and so therefore I just went ahead and wrote the last verse. And another fun fact, yes, that is me. That's why it's only featuring Lyric Critic. If people who don't know, I actually do have a low voice. Being a baritone, I can be a high and be a tenor, and I could also go down and be a bass. So basically all I did was rap my verse in my lower register, and basically to get peak low voice, basically what I did is, as soon as I woke up, I went ahead and got the equipment out, and whipped out the mic and used it before my voice could get really warmed up. That way the lowness would come out very naturally. And the thing is, when I'm talking in my lower register, when you're on a microphone, you kind of have to get kind of close to make sure you get enough of it, because right now I probably sound really quiet if I didn't edit it for it to be louder, and you would actually need me to be a little bit closer, like around here, for you to really get everything about it without actually adjusting the volume. And so while I was speaking like that, I barely tweaked it. I only brought it down like a semitone, which is only like if you're like dealing with like a piano, if you hear the, a C or something, and all you're doing is going down a half note. So like the semitone. This is just the technical term. So, since I'm talking right here, I'd only go out here. I only brought it down just this much instead of being here, just one here. So to go from here, it just be like here. And that's it. That's it. I barely morphed my voice. So anybody who's really paying attention could tell it still sounds like me because the way my speech patterns are, you could tell it's me. But yeah, that's actually me. I did it just because I figured it'd be fun and to throw people off and also kind of show that it is a different perspective, a different person still trying to holler at this chick. Even thought about getting like a female to say like a little something, like actually responding to all the guys trying to hit on her on this song. But decided going ahead to go against it. And basically went ahead against it, deciding to go ahead with my original plan, which is basically to actually show off a little bit singing wise at the end, because most of the singing on the song, at least with the chorus, is more in my throat voice, and or lower register, more chest voice actually. You know, it's Friday here, it's good daddy here, might as well enjoy the night out. I want you. That's the only like bit that's like more in the buttery throat voice. So I just figured I'll go ahead and do what I originally planned and have someone, you know, kind of show off singing the chorus towards the end. And it's what they're saying to me because I made the girls weak and I love hearing them speak. Oh, oh, you know, doing more, showing more of the buttery tones in the song. And then just randomly, since it came to me while I was recording, I figured I'd go ahead and do like the little harmony part with yeah, it could be sweet, baby. Yeah, it could, yeah, it could be sweet, baby. And yeah, it could be sweet, baby. You know, just go ahead and doing that. Just because it came to me in the moment, I was like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and just throw a random harmony right here. Cause I can. But yeah, Lyric Reddick definitely ripped it, came in there with his wit just like I always wanted, and it's actually the first collaboration that we finally got to do together, that's been released at least, because we have worked together before, but none of it has like really gone out there to the public, so glad to finally get one that's official. It's out there. People know me and Lyric be killing this junk. But yeah, did it on a cool little ladies joint. So, you know, hopefully the people like it. Until next time. Alright, so now we're gonna get in a little bit a cool fun fact about Unstoppable. Unstoppable is produced by the wonderful architect who produced a lot of this project. So got to definitely give props to him. He's also the artistic creative over on Create Uplift for the graphic art. So he also did the art for the project as well. So that's really cool. But anyway, back to the song Unstoppable. This song here. Alright, so what I decided to do way back is, this is kind of an homage to what I did way back in the day. My very first album, the intro track, what I did was I created a verse that was introducing myself by using all of the song titles. So if you actually go up on Spotify or like Apple Music or wherever you end up getting music, you can actually listen to the first album, Incoming, and hear how I incorporated all the track names into that opening verse, where I'm just trying to, you know, talk to this person who doesn't believe that me as a kid was a rapper. And so with this being, with Unstoppable being a homage to me never stopping, loving to create this music and stuff like that, and having that powerful feeling to grow and become a fantastic artist. What I did was I chronicled all of my albums in each verse. So with the first verse, I rap, basically incorporate all the titles, song titles, and the album name, and that first verse. So with incoming, that's all in there. And then the second verse is the second album, Guess Who's Back. So you'll end up hearing all the tracks in that track list in that verse, along with the title. And then the third verse, you get to Guilty Pleasure, which all talks about, when I've just graduated out of high school. And so it incorporates all the tracks from there, along with its title. And then finally, you get the Monster Piece, which is, full on adulthood me. And it has all the song titles in there. The piece is just kind of put in together as one. And if you did buy it off of fireblaster.com, then you would have gotten the piece as one track, because that too is one track that I split up into 4 pieces for each section of the album. But so that whole thing is put together in its own verse, and being the 5th album, that's this Gems. It's all put all together, and so it was really cool to try and incorporate all that stuff together in one track. And also not only be able to just turn the tracks, the track names into punchlines, but actually talk about me growing up doing the music while using. Like, it's not just let's just turn all these into punchlines. It's let's turn this into punchlines while telling the story of me growing up making this music and how I became the rapper that I am, while still chronicling every single track and album. So it was a really fun accomplishment and a cool challenge to do. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Much love, peace. Loathing, man. Loathing. It's actually one of the sadder songs that I've actually been pleased with. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I've had a mixtape called I Digress, and I had a song called Stand Still that wasn't very happy, and talking about my frustrations with my indecision, and things that I don't like about myself. I hate that song. I hate listening to that song. But this one, Loathing, I actually really enjoy listening to. This is another Johnny Giuliano production. The first one being Lifestyle. And this beat is one that I've always wanted to do something to, and when I finally came up with what I was going to do, I knew it was perfect for the album, since it is about exploring me and everything that has shaped me into the person I am. And unfortunately, self-loathing is something that that has happened due to people loathing the way I am growing up, and then eventually just poking fun at me. Getting bullied is something that a lot of people end up going through. Even though I was still somewhat of a popular kid in elementary, middle school, a little bit of high school. Like, a lot of people knew who I was, especially since we all grew up together. But they still see me as just kind of that nerdy black kid who isn't really like a black kid. And one thing that has bothered me for a while is my Oreo-ness, even though that's really not a thing. It's just being true to myself. Young, educated dude. I liked reading a little bit growing up, and I loved studying about words and how to write and stuff like that. And I did well in school. So that made me not act in ignorant ways. That was supposed to be supposedly black. Um, and that whole struggle is something that I dealt with, and so I touched on that a little bit. Also, just feeling like some people that I hung around when I was that age, were just kind of tolerating me. I didn't have that high self esteem, because once middle school started and you had a whole lot more students around, I felt like, oh my gosh, I really have to start like all over again to try and become kind of cool to everyone. And I felt like I was really bad at that, especially when I had a particular bully who was extremely mean, and like bullied not only me but a few of my friends, and it was quite annoying. um, and stuff like that, and getting a couple of the other people to kind of be like, yeah, he's right, you're actually not that great at sports, that's why you're always on the sidelines and stuff like that. That stuff kind of hurt, especially since it was also coming from people who I did consider friends at times. So that's why that night with my mom, like, I remember very much so, like, actually breaking down, crying, trying to, well, at least her trying to make me get past my own self-loathing due to how I felt like I didn't have any real true friends at that time. Um, and except for like maybe one. Um, but life changes. Even though there's definitely a lot of things that currently now I don't like about myself, and that's why that's also brought out as well a lot of the things that I don't like about myself. So everyone has their good days and bad days, and this kind of encompasses a lot of those bad days, and so you can't have the good without the bad, and so I felt it was necessary to include this in the album, because you gotta start shaping up my whole life. Sharpen it up, cut it just right, get your diamond, get your emerald, get your ruby looking just why. And to do that, you have to get to all sides, and so I can't leave out all the bad things that I feel. I know I usually use the music mainly to entertain, um, but sometimes to lift people up, you gotta let them know that you've been down. Um, so yeah, next track. That's all I got. Game on. Shout out to Cannibal Beats. Uh, at the time, I think when I bought it, it was actually Aftertouch Beats. But yeah, anybody who's like seen heard or seen the Aftertouch Cipher song from the People's Mixtape 2, The Wish List, will definitely recognize the producer's name, since that's kind of the name of the song. 'Cause it's just Aftertouch Cipher. And then Too Cold, if you really want to call it something. But yeah, dude is dope. Really like his music, and it's good to be able to get on another track of his, because I also did Schizophrenia to one of his beats as well. But this one, really dope, cool 8-bit beat, and I just knew I wanted to spit about some gaming junk and really put that in there. So it was cool to kind of talk about my history with games, growing up with video games, being a 20th to 21st century youngster, 90s kid, growing up playing going from the Genesis and the Game Boy, like all of the Game Boys. I've had every one of those bad boys. PlayStation 2. Unfortunately, having to skip PS3 and getting a PS4. Playing Xbox with friends, playing GameCube with friends, Nintendo 64, like playing all those things with my cousins and neighbors and friends like that. It's like it was fun to kind of really talk about my love of games and all the different games that I really love playing. And you know, if you watch some YouTube videos as well, you also see that, you know, I like to put up a couple of gaming videos too, because when I do get to game, I have a lot of fun, and so, you know, figured I'd share those moments with you guys. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I was actually kind of sad that I did not get to include a true punchline with Smash Bros, even though I've got to put it in other songs. So I guess people who've been actually paying attention to my career will know that I like Super Smash Bros. I'm definitely not pro level on any of these games, but I definitely work with people who can play professionally. Like got to you know, like friends with a dude who ranked at Evo before, so you know, it's kind of dope. Really would like to go to another gaming convention, or it would be really cool to do that, but I guess I'd really have to look into it. But that's neither here nor there. But basically, my nice little nod to Super Smash Bros. Ended up just being talking about my main being Ike. Anybody who's into competitive gaming, especially with fighting games, will know characters have a main character, and then they'll have like side characters that they also can bring out. And my main happens to be Ike. I do also heavily I do like playing Shulk and Little Mac at times, and I know that's like some underdog characters, but you know, it is what it is. And other side tidbit, yes, when I'm playing Super Smash Bros, I use the Wiimote. I'm that stupid when it comes to playing Smash Bros, because I do not use a classic controller or have a GameCube controller. I use the flipping Wiimote. Sorry. Cause I love music and I use it to express my feelings and fuse it with hard punchlines and choruses, cause we go back like dinosauruses. Oh yeah. So that's actually taken from an unreleased song way back, like I like did it in middle school, I think, or like freshman year, something around there, like 8th, 9th grade. I actually came up with that part, and it was actually just part of a verse. It was a song called I Like That. Never came out ever, but I'll play a little clip of it so you could hear it.
It's about time to get hype, so I got the type of song to make the girl say ow. If you don't know, get it right, cause now I'm gonna make the fella say alright now. So get up on your feet and just move to the...
But yeah, decided to tweak it to just be like hard punchlines and choruses, because go back like dinosaurs. And yes, just because I feel, even though I love the silliness of saying dinosauruses, I felt just a little too kid too kid-like, childlike to throw in this project where people are supposed to be taking me seriously. So you know, yeah, did that. Another fun fact: this song I actually did the very last week before I reached my deadline to go ahead and post it up to the distributors to get everything out for you guys to, you know, pre-order and buy. So yeah, this song was created in a week, because there was another song that I wanted to put here that hopefully you guys will be still getting in the near future. Or you already have it. We'll see. Uh, uh, but yeah, with that feature, it was a song with the feature that I feel is been long awaited. Because I'm trying to remember if I've ever gotten a verse from him on an album. Because I don't know if I have. No. Nah. Haven't. Anyway. So yeah. Track. Dopeness. This track I made in a week. I just started looking. I was like, yo, I don't know if this song. I thought this song would be easy to knock out real quick, but just in case, let me look up some cool beats that I could use to possibly replace it. What can fill that vibe of that song and that message of that song. That way, I have something just in case. Ran into this dope Tone Jones track, and I was like, Tone Jones always coming through on the clutch, and I was like, yeah, this could work, and oh snap, there's that old song I like that with that I love music and I use it, that I could just sing and rap all over this junk, and so I actually sang way more than I rapped on this junk, and I was like, man, I didn't expect I was gonna sing this much on this, but that's cool because a lot of people want to hear me sing more, so there you go. Decided to go all out with a lot of the harmonies and junk like that, which is why you get to hear them displayed all over, and I feel it's perfect that it happened to be on this track about music that I do so the most kind of like musical embellishments with all the cool harmonies like the oohs and the choruses and just the going back and forth between the rap and the singing and then like being able to still have like the whole crowd call and response type thing going on in there. If you're feeling like a feeling, put your head into the ceiling like yeah, got your throwback, shake you know that it parade. Oh, just like have like little references to other songs that harken back to that whole call and response thing that music used to have a lot in hip hop, especially. So you know, this stuff like that is something that I love, and I was like, to be able to express that in this song is cool because I've talked about how much I love music before, but I feel I never done it to this degree. And so yeah, definitely another one of my favorites on this this album. One that I fought toughly with Succotash of being my number one favorite. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm still on the fence. I'm like, is music my favorite track? And it's funny because I kind of rushed it. Though you can't really tell, because I can make songs quickly, but I mean, it wasn't something that I tried to mull over in my brain, the concept for a long time. It was just like, hey, this song would be cool. Yeah, I can do that. Let's do it. Knock it out. Like, I know I'm capable of doing that, but it's just funny that like that ended up being like one of my favorite songs, one I didn't spend too much time on and just get on it, hit it, done. So yeah, it's so tough trying to think of which one was gonna be my favorite, and it's cool that this ended up being one of them. So MIA, the beat to MIA, man, one of the hardest beats that I've ever like put together. It's has one of the most sample chops that I've ever like used and like chopped up and rearranged and put together as one whole track. And this was not originally supposed to be for the album when I was just making the beat. I was just wanting to make the beat, and I was like, yo, this beat is too hard. I need to put it on the project. And so what I felt was the best way to use it was to follow up the track from Pieces of the Monster, Purple Hearts, is the song telling of a relationship that just moved way too fast, and the troubles that had, since they swore to each other that they would always love them and take care of them and they would never hurt them. Yet when you're moving in a relationship so fast, that's really a hard promise to keep up. And this Purple Hearts 2 follow-up actually continues on where that left off, because you end up continuing to talk to the guy in the relationship about something that happened then that wasn't shared in the first story, being the fact that the first time they did kind of have sex, because he did have regrets in trying to do those kind of things. Basically, they ended up becoming pregnant and having a miscarriage shortly after. And it's just the story of him going through the emotions of knowing that if they would have had that child, he or she would be elementary school age right now, and just coming to that realization that, oh my goodness, life could be so much different now. And I know of people who have had situations like this, or other people who haven't had a situation quite like it but have still dealt with miscarriages. And I felt it was something that is rarely ever spoken on, as I've mentioned before, that I felt could be a way to really try and capture all the different emotions that can come from that, having to deal with that situation, and imagining what it would be like if it didn't happen, and having to deal with all the craziness that comes with that. But yeah, really important song to me. It's just because I just have a lot of empathy for people who've gone through the situation, since it's happened to so many people around me in my life. And also, there's something else I wanted to say about it. What's really cool about this song is that this is actually kind of the second song that I've really tried to create a more cinematic feel. I tried to do that with the song The Lapidary, that also leads into this album, just like Sky High would tie into Where Did You Go. The Lapidary also ties in very seamlessly with Where Did You Go as well. So The Lapidary kind of chronicles that whole journey of finding out about basically the guy behind this legendary album. I mean, I know that's kind of putting this little project of mine on a pedestal, like it's really amazing. I don't really feel it's like that, but I mean, it is still a really good project. But this is actually the second more cinematic approach that I've tried to have, because as you can tell in the beginning, you can like kind of hear the crowd there in the bar. You hear the drinks clinking when he's drinking it. You hear the gulps, and you really kind of get placed in that moment. And this is like the second time I've really got to try that, because with The Lapidary I was able to kind of put the atmosphere of like being out in the wilderness and then traveling the cave, and you end up hearing the footsteps and stuff like that, and hearing the conversations back and forth. I really wanted to do that with some other people, but it didn't end up working out in the time frame that I needed it done in. But still, this was also another cool track that I got to try and do a more cinematic approach with. And so that's just another fun fact, little trivia for your knowledge, if you're so interested. All right. On to the next track. Succotash, man. Whoo! Another beat that came from a beat tape that I created. Everybody that remembers Yoko Combo will recognize this beat here. Back then, I actually originally wanted it to be a collaboration between me and Braille Watson, and it was gonna be something along the lines of this song itself, but when it came to eventually adding it to the album, instead, I went ahead and decided to tackle it all myself, and I'm really happy with how it came out. The original song that was going to be here was Soul of the Game, but with the way the album, how long it was taking to create the album, I decided to add it to the Lapidary so it could come out sooner because it was more time sensitive. And this one, I feel, actually is a little bit more timeless. So it's very, very important to me to actually speak out on these things. I know I don't do it very often, but the whole socio-political state we're in the world is troubling, and sometimes, rarely, I think about it and it gets me down, and I try to avoid those kind of things, but sometimes you got to go ahead and break it down, and even let other people know how it is for some people. That's why with the second and third verse being tied together is very, very dope to me, because it really breaks down a very, very real situation, with single mothers and trying to support their children through their own issues while going through, just trying their best to stay afloat for themselves. I mean, it's tough out here, and also the cool thing about the third verse is just how accurate it can be with the punchlines on like the first part, because everything in that verse is actually surrounded by the number 12. So man, I hate 12. Like some people may think it's just the number, but people in the hood, or people who listen to a lot of hip hop now, know 12 refers to the police. But yeah, man, I hate 12. 3 years from now, I'm supposed to be grade 12, so that means he's probably in like 9th grade. So that means he's about probably about 14, 15 most likely, right? 15. At 3 years, I was told my father can't make bail. So, at 3 years old, he was told his father can make bail. So that means at 3. So, and I haven't seen him since then, so I guess that makes 12 years he's been locked up. So, 12 plus 3, 15. Perfect age for a freshman. It's oh, that's kind of cool. Years he's been locked up, and mom just left him for a man who ran. She got knocked up, and that's something that's happens far too often too. It's crazy. So that means his sister would be about 12, right? It's nuts. Knocked up, and my father, they made and dang on it, but people make mistakes and be looking for a cake they made this way scale. Now why pray tell what a go dad same trail? I'll defer to Jane instead of slang and yayo. True it to be a student of those who make bankroll, cause this year because I can never crack books, and this year I may fail. plus why? All right, so and then later on, he says why wait 12 months just to make 12? Why wait 12 months just to make why wait 12 months to make 12 times less working part-time when it comes to crime, when it comes to pay crimes best. So a lot of places they hire at 16, so that's why he says why wait 12 months to make 12 times less, basically selling drugs. And then time struck midnight, initiation to make sales, crime bust, weapons drawn to the target to aim 12. So around midnight is when they're meeting to start talk about what they're gonna do to start selling his drugs, because he's just getting into it. But unfortunately, this is the night that there's the drug bust, and they end up targeting the 12 and the police when they bust in. And then just another nod to the theme, when you actually, if you listen closely to the news report that pops in like right there after the first shot, it actually says nearly a dozen people were arrested from crime. So keeping the whole 12 theme in the verse, it was a fun little experiment. But yeah, very, very good song in my opinion. Possibly my favorite, just because it actually means something, and it was pretty well done as well. Got to do a good amount of singing and rapping in it. So yeah. Next track. Strings, bro. So, as I mentioned before, I've worked on this album for like a good while. So I actually had this track done before I did anything for The Lapidary. I was like, you know what? This beat is so dope, and it's got that trap hard sound, and people don't really get to hear me on that a lot, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And then I kind of did it on the last verse, and the rest just kind of sounds like something you might hear from maybe like a Tech N9ne. I noticed that over time, especially after doing songs like Flota and all that jazz. But they are all produced by the wonderful Tone Jones, who is flipping amazing. Probably going to be using a lot of his production in the future, just because he's just so good. But yeah, with Strings, man, it was dope to kind of have a very pattern heavy and message forward song, and just that whole truth of the story I tell in that first verse. I really wanted to use this song to tell the story of just my feelings about becoming a mainstream like major label artist, and so that whole story of me being 12 years old, and seeing like the end of like the first season of American Idol, and just being like, oh, they're all going on tour. They all have to go on the tour together, and seeing where the careers are heading. It's like, yo, I don't think that's for me, because I like doing this rap stuff and I like singing as well. But if I were to do this, they'd only want me to sing, even if I was to win the whole thing. They'd, like, once they sign me to a label, I know they'd want to try and control what my trajectory would be in the music business, and I don't want that. And plus, I was also pairing that with other stories that I've heard of other artists, just even outside of the whole American Idol thing, just seeing how controlling business the business can be on people. And I was like, nah, I'm not down for that. I am not down for that. I'm gonna, you know, try and do this on my own terms. And when I sign, I want to be able to have creative control. But as I continue to grow and realize, oh, even if I were to sign now, then they try to make me like in middle school. I was like, yo, well, they're gonna try and sign me and make me be some pop artist. Even when it comes to the rap stuff, so they wanted me to do like the bubblegum snap movement type stuff at that time, and I was like, yeah, I'm not all about that kind of stuff. I kind of have my own little style that is not really that, and so that's something that I never really wanted to do. And so even with that last verse, even though it becomes even more formulaic with the way the verse is kind of presented, with having to set up with the huzzah, something 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 something, huzzah, something 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 something. Like, even though that's more constrained there, I'm still kind of doing me and talking about independence. So it's a kind of cool little juxtaposition there. By like, even though I'm able to do kind of a more trap structure, you know, something you know, triplets and little patterns all the time, but I'm continually talking about, man, why sign now? Especially in the climate that we're in now, you can really do this music stuff on your own. I mean, you can really garner your own fan base online. You can release everything you want online, and I mean, I'm doing it now with this project, and still being able to do big things with it. And I know I could choose to do even more with it, though I don't. But there are definitely other examples of people who have stayed independent, continue to release their music on their own terms, and garner a fan base that's made them big. I mean, I hate using this example, but I mean that's kind of what Russ did. I mean, he kind of went and did it on his own, and then eventually, when he got to a point where he was like, yeah, I can sign to a major on my own terms, I'm gonna do that, and they're basically gonna handle distribution, but I still pretty much do everything on my own. And I don't even like his music. Sorry, just want to put that in there. But it is an example of, you know, how great a time it is to go independent. I mean, even Tech himself, Tech 9, that is. But yeah, which I found out, man, this song was really influenced by him, even though I wasn't trying to at the time. But Flota definitely captured that whole, like, this is a trap rap song kind of thing. But that's it. That's all I had to say about Strings. Definitely knew I wanted this to be the first single. It was supposed to be like the first trap song that I was going to release, but you know, that didn't end up happening. But it still ended up being the first single for the project, because I feel it really sets the tone for what I'm doing. It's big, it's grandiose, and it's an epic moment for me and what I stand for with this music. So, yeah. Now, Take a Chance is another one that I knew was going to be for this album, early stages of the album, and also, like, this is a beat that I've wanted from Ark for a long time. Like this, like, I'm sorry, Ark, but I gotta say, I asked before for this track, like way back, and he's like, nah, man, I'm holding on to this one for a certain reason. Like, I don't know, I'm holding on to this one, and I'm like, darn, because I know I could rip it. And now years later, it got back into my possession. I was able to go ahead and kill it with this pop banger. And for the longest time, it took forever to try and get a female vocal on this song. I've tried a lot of different singers here because I really wanted to be able to be there in the session leading how the vocals would go, and plus I also just know a lot of aspiring singers that are like interested in getting into making it their career, and I figured, you know, hey, I've been doing this stuff for a long time. I could give you the you know, some experience of just like being in the studio, and plus I'd be able to get, you know, some of your first credits on some music, but unfortunately the people that I had here, they couldn't end up doing it. So I reached out to another artist that I've wanted to work with for a long time, and hopefully we'll be able to work again even more closely on the next one. But Lindsay Alderman, shout out to her for being willing to hop on this track, and she killed it. Even though it is a little bit outside, just a little bit outside of her usual sound, I think she was able to bring her own style to it, her own sass and sexiness to her vocals that she usually brings in her music to this more pop R&B type sound. And when you hear this song, you cannot tell me you don't want to dance. Like this mug is too infectious to lie to yourself and say you don't want to move to this song. But yeah, just this was another one that I knew had to be a single, because I mean, it's way too pop not to. You know, it's too infectious not to put it out there and let, you know, the people jam. So yeah, that's all I really got to give to you on this one. It's just a awesome track with an amazing vocalist featured on it. Lindsay, if you do see this, keep doing the dang thing. And if you haven't been up on Lindsay Alderman, I would say do it. She's an amazing artist, and she's only getting better and expanding her sound more and more, and hopefully that will also mean an expansion of her fan base as well, starting with you viewers. Alright, next track. Do You. Alright, fun fact right off the bat. This track samples a very well-known song from Samurai Champloo, Shiki no Uta, or the Song of the Seasons. And cool thing about this, I've had this beat for many a years. In fact, it was on a beat project that you can still get on fireblaster.com. It's on the Eclectic project by Blipmaster5, which is me. But yeah, I've always wanted to hear a song done to it, and since no one else has, I was like, well, then it might as well be me. And along with the song like Positive, I wanted to do another one, and I felt, you know, this one would be the best one to do it on, because it's just kind of chill, and you know, you could, and I also wanted to do a little bit more singing on it instead of rapping, even though when I was creating it, I definitely had more of a rap song in mind. But I was like, you know what, let's switch it up, let's go ahead and sing most of it on this one, since it is chill enough to go ahead and sing upon. So that's what I went ahead and did. Sorry guys for the dang on noise, for the trash people coming by. You done yet? Come on now. Come on. Be done. Please. It's taking quite a while. Thank you. Yep. Keep moving. Keep moving. Yep. Oh, snap. Getting there. Alright. So that's what I'm saying. Another cool thing about this song that I actually didn't get to do as much of, but was really kind of dive into my love of anime. On this album, I got to talk about my love of music, of course, my love of video games, but another big pastime of mine is watching anime. So I figured what better track to do it on than a track that samples an anime, soundtrack song. So yeah, I didn't get to do a whole lot speaking on it, but I did give at least about like 8. I think it's like 4. It's like 8 or 4 bars towards it. Also got to mention my love of YouTube, so I got to shout out a couple YouTubers that I like. Definitely big on that as well. But on the anime tip, I definitely mentioned Kino's Journey because that's what was playing at the time. And I figured it would also be a great way to tie in the other things, the themes behind it. And so what I did is kind of give the theme behind Trigun, not letting like do the best that you can, with it, be as positive as you can be, to correct the bad that you've done, and then also the themes behind Cowboy Bebop, because those are my 2 favorite anime. So to try and not let the past control you, don't keep holding on to the past so bad that you can't appreciate the present. And yeah, so that's just kind of my nod towards my love of anime, though I didn't go specific with what those shows were. Definitely big anime fan, especially if you see a couple of my reviews and a couple of posts that I throw up here and there. Definitely you would know I'm a big anime fan. Yeah, so I just wanted to show me doing me, especially in that second verse. That way you can see the example of someone being true to themselves as much as they can. That way you could be motivated to, if I could do it, you could do it too. And I'm a weirdo. I like weird things and I don't care. Just kind of do myself. And, things tend to work out. But yeah, so let's do you. Yo. So, hold it. All right. Just so you guys know, like, this is another beat that I wanted to do for years, but struggle to figure out how in the world I was gonna tackle it, because a lot of these tracks that are produced by Architect are mad old, man, but they still go hard, don't they? Shout out to him. But yeah, so hold it, man. I was like, you know what? I'ma just let out all the anger. I've never done like a really angry track, and I'm like, you know what? I'ma do that because this is perfect for it. It's just so loud and bombastic. It's like I might as well. You know what I'm saying? So I went ahead and like just tried to rip it as best as I can, and I finally had the skill set to try and like do it well, because I've tried to write to it before, and I like started and I was like, nah, this just isn't working, because it's so hard. It's so hard being my first 3-4 beat. I mean, I have done I mean, I kind of did a 3/4 beat with IML, but and that's from the People's Mixtape Volume 1. If you haven't checked that out, but that one like changed all the time. So I could kind of get away with doing what I felt like as long as I could still, make it fit. But this one is like, now it's set in a 3/4, and that's all I can do. And figuring out what kind of how could I switch up the patterns in it, that way it's not just the same one the whole time. I wanted to be able to still be as rhythmically diverse as I usually am. And now I finally have like all the tools in my arsenal to do so, and so it was fun to rip it. And then another thing that I thought would be a really fun idea is because I never ever hear anyone try to copy Mystikal style, because it's so original. It's so original. No one has ever tried to like emulate his style in a song, at least in my opinion. I haven't heard it. So I just figured I'd pay like a small homage to his style a little bit, and actually kind of yell on the track like he would, and then switch back to the cool cat. But yeah, man. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Here go. You full of shit, stupid, hating the what if what are you? It's just like, it is just that subtle nod straight up to Move, Ludacris' song. So yeah, it was just a fun little nod to that, and yeah, it's just a fun song to do, and I'm a little concerned about how people are going to take it, but hopefully they'll enjoy it, despite it being like one of my more aggressive songs that I've ever made. I mean, I said some like punchlines that'll be like, oh man, that was kind of mean, but this is like straight up like, yo, nah, I ain't here to play that nonsense, homeboy. So it was fun to do, and it's also another one of my favorites, like, cause flow wise that mug is just nuts. I think it's like one of the tracks that has like some of the best rapping on it. But yeah, that's just it for that one. All right, so much love, peace. TLDR, too long didn't read. If you do end up seeing this song anywhere other than my website, where you hopefully got access to this mug. This is not featuring DR. The way that my distributor put it out to the different stores kind of changed the way it was supposed to be formatted. Just like Gems couldn't be formatted the way I wanted it to be, because it's supposed to be capital GEMS. I didn't want to put dots in there, and I didn't want to put hyphens in there or anything, so it's supposed to be an acronym, but it is what it is. It's not featuring DR, it's just me. But TLDR was a song that I needed to do to kind of like really talk about what has made me in a way I've never done before, without really mentioning the music. I never really dived deep into my upbringing and my environment growing up and childhood in this way. And I knew that basically, if anything, if you were gonna go away with anything from this project, if you decided you don't want to listen to all that stuff, you just want to get to what the meat of the potatoes of who I am, then Too Long Didn't Read is the track to go to, because there I laid down my basically a short autobiography up to basically May 2018, and who I am and the people around me that helped raise me and stuff like that. This is another track from Architect that I've always wanted to try and rap on eventually, and I'm happy it was able to be the actual closer of the album. Although Fire is the technical last song of the album, but that's just a bonus thing, and I'll get into that when I talk about that track. But yeah, TLDR was really fun, and it was interesting to try and with the rap parts was fun because I tried to do delivering it in two different ways. One that's a little bit more dry, and one that's a little bit more animated, and then to have it switch between the two. So if you listen closely, you can actually hear that there's two different types of delivery going on. If you listen real closely, you could definitely tell that there's two voices at a lot of times, but you may not be able to tell that they're actually purposefully saying the things in a different way. But yeah, and it was another great track, being able to switch from the singing and the rapping sections. And especially I knew it was important to do that, since I knew that I was not going to write a chorus for this at all. So to keep it interesting, definitely knew I had to switch between the two modes, and hopefully people were able to enjoy it. I know not everyone would want to listen to it over and over again, but I still really enjoy it, and I'm happy with how it closes out the Gems experience if you were not to have Fire at all. But yeah, that's it. Fire! The bonus track. Man. Alright, so the fun fact with this one is that this was originally supposed to be a song for the Yoko Combo beat tape, back when I wanted the Yoko Combo to be all songs and not just beats. And it was going to be my one, my one song by myself, because it was supposed to be just me with a bunch of features doing a bunch of cool, or just songs by other people to my beats. But anyway, since that didn't end up happening, I decided, well, maybe it'll fit somewhere on the album. And I was like, by the time I was figuring out how I wanted it all sequenced, I realized actually this would be better as kind of just like a bonus track, since it kind of encompasses me as just a rapper. It just showcases me as Fire Blaster, the artist, the rapper dude, and not quite me as a person. So it actually does somewhat tie in, because with TLDR you get me as a person, and then with Fire Blaster you get me as the artist. And with it, I just wanted to show off, just challenge myself to come up with the most crazy patterns and junk like that. And even you can end up seeing way back on a while at Instagram me doing that first verse, because I had that first verse for a long time, because it was going to be part of the Yoko Combo project that came out like 2 years ago almost. And my brain is farting. And the rest of it was just all stuff that I came up when I knew it was going onto the album. Like that second verse is so difficult. You don't know how long it took for me to challenge myself to do the Abbott like pattern. So just like with Punchline Academy trying to do the all of it rhyme with valedictorian, doing that 8-bar section where it's just and it's like back to back to back to back with like no breaks. That was so hard. It's the abstract, back at it, that savage, pack sandwich, backhanded, grab bandage, drop damage, grab it and I got a rap, just happen to man, draft on the. See, I can't even do it right now. That's how hard it was. So memorizing that mug for shows is gonna be so difficult. But I do want to try and include that in future performances because I just know that mug would be mad impressive. And then also with the third verse, being able to bring back the double speak like I had in Schizophrenia, was cool to try and bring back into just the creativity when it comes to the technical aspects of hip hop, which is one of my favorite parts. Is just being like technically amazing with the craft and art of writing hip hop music. So yeah, Fire is mad dope, and the cool thing about that is how the chorus is literally just I'm fire, and talking about how recognizable the Neptune slide is back from the early 2000s is to, you know, my sound, because even though it is a blend of a lot of other artists' styles, there's also a bit of me and my voice that I bring to that weird mix that is distinguishably me. And I know I probably just made up a word, and I don't care, because sometimes I don't like to be proper with my English. So yeah, and that kind of ends up the album, and I'm happy I was able to you know, kind of go hard on the last track, because usually I, you know, sometimes just kind of let it ease out, but this time I punctuated it with some hard bars. So, you know, that's what it is, and hopefully you guys enjoy it too, as you know, the bonus track, the extra bit of hard bars that, you know, wasn't the main focus of this album, because it was a little bit more introspective and you know, a little bit more nuanced, and instead of just being about coming up with hard punchlines and being witty like I usually do. So it was good to still have a bit of that on the album instead of, you know, what I just said. I'm so good with words. It's funny I'm a rapper, man. All right. Much love. Peace. Threes.